Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Folks, we're into Book 4 of the Fate of the Jedi series, and this one's called Backlash by Aaron Alston. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in the prior book, with those Sith was Vistari. Vistari is now running away from Luke and Ben, who are in hot pursuit of her. That's how this book kind of opens up. She makes her way to Dothamir, where she encounters a tribe of Dothamir witches, and they kind of adopt her as one of her own. And they also protect her from Luke and Ben when they come to capture her. They're like, nope, she's part of our tribe. Remember, Vistari is still young. They think she's innocent. She just doesn't know. She's so confused. She doesn't know what's good or bad. She's just trying to do the right thing. And Luke knows that she's a liar. Luke knows she's a liar. But she does help the tribe fend off a Night Sister attack, which is a big deal, and kind of proof that the Dothamir witch are like, yeah, see, she's good, she's trying her best now. Luke isn't convinced, so there's a little standoff right there on the planet Dothamir, where there's other things going on. There are these two fighting tribes of good witches, and there's these Night Sisters who are trying to divide and conquer and kill them all. So Luke and Ben are there to kind of help settle that. So that's what's kind of going on throughout their story, and I'll come back to them in a minute. But what I want to move toward is Admiral Dalla's story, or Admiral Dalla, Chief of State Dalla now. Chief of State Dalla is in some trouble. You see, she's causing some friction among her own people. They're kind of upset, like, okay, you know what? Just give this thing a rest. You're kind of going overboard. And just like Dalla, she does go overboard. This has been her character forever. She gets in a position of power, and then she abuses it and reaches too far. Everything collapses around her. Then she slowly builds up. Learns from it, comes back bigger than ever. Well, you thought, man, you're finally chief of state. You finally got things going your way. No, she can't help it. She tries to arrest Admiral Nethanol from the Legacy of the Force series. She was the one that was in cahoots with Jason for a while for her past actions too. Like she's trying to go through people's Twitter feed and find something bad they said years ago and convict them of it. Isn't it weird how Fate of the Jedi echoes to something that is taking place now, like 10, 20 years later? That's kind of wild. But anyway, that's exactly what Admiral Dalla is doing here. She's trying to convict people of way past crimes. Well, the Admiral chooses to take her own life rather than stand trial. Another defeat for Dalla, as she's losing public support now. Things are starting to crumble around her. And one thing I've neglected to mention this entire series, and it's a shame on me because I love this character. It's actually one of my favorite characters in Fate of the Jedi is Win Dorvin. Win Dorvin is Dalla's aide. He's a fantastic character. I think he has some kind of animal, little pocket animal he keeps in his pocket, whatever, and rubs it every once in a while. But he's just such an interesting character and such a great character too. And Win Dorvin is trying to, he's faithful to Dalla, but at the same time it's like, Dalla, you're taking this a little too rough, or you should probably do this. He's the aide trying to steer her away from self-destructing, which is what Dalla is intent on doing, basically. She's self-destructing her own career, and Win doesn't want that. And so he's trying to ease relationships between the Jedi, the Galactic Alliance, and everywhere, but things just keep blowing up in his face. Dalla will do things without his permission, or not, maybe just ignore his advice at times, and things are getting worse. And you feel bad for Win, but I really like Win. I should have mentioned him a long time ago. He's in the very first book, and I liked him from the very first book, and he just keeps going on. He is a very likable character, and you're going to see much more of him in the series to come. Now, I told you in my last review that this series kind of follows the events of what the Odyssey is. It's kind of its own little Star Wars Odyssey. And one of the side stories they did for this was Alana and 3PO and R2 all together. R2-D2 gets captured. Alana tricks C-3PO. C-3PO thinks they're playing hide and seek, but she's hiding and running to go save R2-D2. She saves R2-D2 from a one-eyed man, which is the Cyclops in the Odyssey. And then she rescues R2 and then pilots the Falcon all to herself to get to Han and Leia. It's a cute little mini adventure that she has, but again, they're just trying to echo the Odyssey. Now, I wasn't so crazy about the beat-for-beat aspects or things they did, but you got to appreciate what they're trying to do here, right? Make a modern day Odyssey sci-fi Star Wars story, which is fine, but the story is a little bit of a throwaway story, even though it does have some fun parts with 3PO in it, and of course 3PO is going to have something to say during this whole thing. It's not the first time the Falcon's been piloted by children, if you recall, but again, it's not the smoothest flight for Alana either, but it is a fun little side story that happens in this series. Now back to Dala. She has a great idea, which is really terrible. She's hired Mandalorians to clamp down on the Jedi. Whoa! The Mandos are going up against the Jedi again. So Mandalorians are being implored for her. Now, this is what's really ruffling the public's feathers. It's because Mandalorians are kind of not well liked or respected. They're kind of vagabonds. They're bounty hunters. They're not really good people, according, to the common citizen. And Wynn's trying to tell her this, but she refuses to believe it. Now, when things really start blowing up, all around her, she asks for the aid of Han and Leia to help her out. Like, hold on. I want to hit a timeout here. Talk to the Jedi. Let's try to work things out. So Han and Leia are now put in this position where they need to kind of work things out. They bring in Jason's dead. Jaina and Jag. What kind of book was I reading? Anyway, while the whole Solo extended family is around, there is an attack. Oh no, Dala has attacked them. She's betrayed them. That's what Moff wants them to think. You see, there's this Moff who has been he's been in the book for a while now. I just haven't mentioned him. I think it's Lacerin is his name. And he's been trying to undermine this entire, situation, what's been going on. He was the one that was sending cameras into the little cleaning droids in the Jedi Temple, and he was feeding that information to a journalist to report, Jedi are going crazy. And, so he was the one leading that spy effort inside the Jedi Temple. He was also involved, and I think I said this earlier, in an assassination attempt against Jagged Fell. So he's been behind the scenes just causing a ruckus, and he's still going to be doing that. So what he does, he sends an attack, makes it look like it's Dala has betrayed them, because he wants to keep stirring up the pot, because, of course, he's a Moff from the Empire. He wants the Empire back in control again. I kind of like that idea. The Empire is the underdog here. They have a small section in the galaxy, so what can you do? Well, let all the big dogs fight it out. Let the Jedi and the Galactic Alliance go at it, and then the Empire can move on in, become everyone's savior, and reestablish power again. Not a bad idea if you're the Empire. So that's what that Moff is doing, and he's going to be a thorn in everyone's side for quite some time in this series. Finally, moving back to the Luke and Ben storyline, it turns out Vestari is no good. We all knew that. She betrays the tribe to the Night Sisters. She starts working with the Night Sisters, but then she even betrays the Night Sisters because the whole time she's stalling for time until her, lost tribe of the Sith backups come in. And then they really try to create chaos in there. And she, of course, the Sith do another assault against Luke and Ben. It fails again, so epically this time that Vestari is captured now. And her coup has failed once more. By the way, the little side story, the two tribes got together over this. They bonded over this. And so that little story arc's completed. So now Luke and Ben have Vestari, and they leave the planet with her. They're going to take her to the Jedi. Unfortunately, they come in to a Sith ship blockade around the planet. And that's how our book ends. What happens? Well, I'll talk about that next time in another video.